Let's roll, baby. Welcome in a special edition of New York, New York. It's JJ Johnson-Stremski after the New York Knicks have a horrific round one collapse. So much for an easy four-game sweep. So much for the Atlanta Hawks going quietly into the night. That was as disgusting and as despicable as it gets as CJ McCollum hit shot after shot. The Knicks offense went absolutely in the tank in the fourth quarter. And instead of talking about the Knicks up 2-0 in this series, we are talking about what in God's name went wrong as the Atlanta Hawks go and win by the score of 107-106. And I want to illustrate something right out of the gate here before we dissect everything that went wrong in this game. This game was on autopilot for 3 quarters. I can't stress that enough. Autopilot. 3 quarters. First quarter of the game, the ball movement was exquisite. Everybody's involved. Hart's defense on Jalen Johnson was absolutely stupendous. And the Knicks are up 9-10, comfortable. Amazing start to the game. Second quarter. This is where my critique for Mike Brown is going to be through the roof in this game. I understand he loves his bench. I understand he loves his bench lineup. There is absolutely positively no reason. There is no reason whatsoever you should start quarters with Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns both on the bench. He did that not once, but twice in this game. He did it in the second quarter. Atlanta went on a run. He did it again in the fourth quarter, and Atlanta went on a run. It's inexcusable. They're your 2 best players on the team. You can't have it where they're out together for 10, 11 minutes of this game. Because if you look at the minutes are insane for Atlanta the minute that happens. Okay, that was a major problem for Mike Brown. Knicks overcome that in the second quarter. They have a good finish to the half. They're up 7. And in the third quarter, Karl-Anthony Towns is going off. He's absolutely going off. He's hitting the outside shot. He's playing with confidence. Atlanta does not have the size to be able to handle him. So you're like, great. Despite the fact that there were some stupid fouls, Brunson picked up a couple of dumb ones. Cat, it's a given. You know he's going to pick up a couple of dumb ones. So you went into the fourth quarter saying, okay, both guys with 4 fouls, fine. You're not going to go and start the fourth quarter with them. But then Atlanta gets hot. One of them's got to get back in the game. Brown waits too long to do so. And all of a sudden, a game that sounded and looked and felt like a layup got tight. The Knicks got tight. The Garden got tight. And what happened? It turned into the Jalen Brunson ISO show over the final 5.5 minutes of the game. And Atlanta was like, you know what? We're going to let Jalen Brunson go and take his ISOs. Go ahead. We're going to double team him. We're going to force the Knicks into terrible offensive possessions. And that's why the Knicks had as dreadful a fourth quarter as you could possibly have. The discrepancy in the fourth quarter is so disgusting. When you go back and look at the stat sheet in the fourth quarter, you are going to be absolutely horrified by what you see. Horrified with the way the Knicks were outscored. With the way the Knicks were outplayed. Then you throw in Anunoby missing 2 free throws, which brought back shades of last year's Indiana game. You have CJ McCollum, who has been a monster, and I got to give credit where credit is due. I didn't think McCollum had another game in game 2 like he did in game number 1, and he shut my fat face up because he was awesome. And he played off the Garden crowd. And listen, guys are going to do that now. Anybody who thinks, oh, no, the guys aren't. No, guys are going to play off the Garden crowd. It comes with the territory. So you can't get mad. You can't get upset about it. Like, it's what they're going to do. You come into the Garden, you want to go and be Halliburton from last year. You want to be Trae Young for a couple of years ago. You want to be Reggie Miller. Everybody, they know it's the stage. They know it's the environment. They're going to play off it. You got to be able to answer that. That's all. Guys can play off the crowd. Just shut them up and win the game. But between Anunoby missing free throws and then the last possession, which, by the way, I'm still confused about. We almost went on set on SNY 10 minutes before 11 o'clock. And, I mean, I tweeted it out. I didn't delete the tweet. I own it. I acknowledge it. I thought the Knicks had a timeout because the broadcast had the graphic up. They had a timeout. They were talking about the fact that they had a timeout. So when McCollum is missing the free throws, I'm like, timeout. Little did I know the Knicks didn't have one. And Mike Brown's timeout usage over the final 4 minutes of the game was absolutely embarrassing. But then the Bridges possession. Go to the basket, dude. How soft was that fall-away jumper from Mikal Bridges? So soft. Bridges is an infuriating player. You saw the good of Bridges. First quarter of this game, he's playing with confidence. He's going to perimeter. He's hitting outside shots, and he disappears. But it was the perfect way to sum up losing this game. Bad coaching. Bad play from your best player. I don't give a rat's ass about the 2 threes Jalen Brunson hit. Watch the game. Don't sit there and tell me he played a good game. He didn't play a good game. He didn't. And his possessions down the stretch of this game were incredibly costly. Missed free throws, bad defense, which Brunson was absolutely a part of. Early in the fourth quarter, it was the pick and roll, and I love Mitchell Robinson. He had a great second quarter. Mitchell Robinson looked so out of gas in the fourth quarter, he couldn't go at the pick and roll to save his life. Couldn't do it. But instead of this being, hey, a party, the Knicks are up 2-0. This is going to be an easy series. There's not going to be anything to sweat on Thursday with the NFL draft or Saturday night as you're enjoying, the last April weekend of 2026. No, now Knicks are in a dogfight. They're still going to win the series. They're the better team. But I think this game is far more symbolic to me of just the angst that I think a good amount of the fan base has with this team in thinking down the road. Because I can find the Oklahoma City last year was a championship team choking game 1 to Denver. This does happen. But I also can find you Oklahoma City being a killer and finishing off an opponent with relative ease. That's what I wanted the Knicks to do. They should have finished off Atlanta, going back there, up 2-0, having a home court against Atlanta where you're like, wow, we're going to win this series in 4 or 5 games, guaranteed. Now, that is no longer the case. And what you have done here in game 2 is you have inspired a team that is young, that is hungry, and I'll give Quinn Snyder credit for this. He is a tremendous, tremendous coach. I think he's really good at his job. The belief that they can go and not only compete in this series, but dare I say win this series. That's what the Knicks did here on Monday night. And it's incredibly frustrating. And when you have the lead, let's just think about this for a minute, folks. You have the lead basically for 90% of the game. The Hawks are grabbing the lead in the fourth quarter. You're like, what? I'm wondering when they take the lead, when's the last time they had a lead in this game? Shows you how these games can turn on a dime. And you just hope that the momentum of this series does not all of a sudden turn on a dime. Still think the Knicks are going to find their way to win in 5 or 6. I'm not backing off that. I know we had our video that went viral after game 1 where I'm still not thoroughly impressed with the Hawks. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm not. I'm impressed with CJ McCollum. He's badass. Hawks still have no size. They still have no depth. They should not be able to play with this Knicks team. That, to me, is the big difference between Atlanta and what I've seen in these 2 games and Detroit last year. See, Detroit last year outplayed the Knicks thoroughly for the first 2 games. Knicks had a big fourth quarter, and they got outplayed in game 2. And then we know how the rest of that series went. I don't see that with the Hawks. But this is not ideal. And it doesn't inspire confidence that this team has now kicked it into the next level. You kind of feel like they're exactly where they were a year ago. and we've said that for most of the regular season, that's kind of the way I feel right now. They could prove me wrong. Go win this series in 5 games, win the next 3, and shut me up. But that was a disgusting loss today. All right, you guys know how to react and join the show. Click the link. Join us. If you're listening or watching on Twitter, we got it going on Twitter, on YouTube, all the beautiful stuff. I'm fired up to be joined by each and every one of you. Let's lead it off. The Coney Island Cobra. I'm putting you in the Soriano spot today. You need a leadoff home run. Let's go, Cobra. How we doing?
Hey, buddy. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm having a drink right now, a little port.
You need a couple of drinks after watching that game. You need more than a drink.
I'm 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 you know what? I had 45 minutes to really think about this. What scares me is after tonight's loss, I don't see how we can ever win a championship with the way we're built right now. That's what scares me right now. Like if Jalen Brunson is our best player, he better be Isaiah Thomas. And tonight, the ISO down the stretch fucking killed us. It was horrendous. And you can't win like again, I understand, Carl Anthony Towns had a game tonight. And instead of going back and looking at things, the first thing he does is he looks to score every time. And he's looking at shots that aren't even there. I mean, that stretch down with the last minute and a half was horrendous. Horrendous. And I look at this team right now, besides Mike Brown, who I don't see as a championship coach, just isn't. I mean, if we had Quinn Snyder as our coach tonight, we close this game out. Up 12 going in the fourth, it's over with. I just don't see the way this team is set up. We're going to win this series in probably 6 games, but I don't see this team. I mean, the way we're built right now, the way we're constructed, we're not winning a championship.
Well, listen, Cobra, what you saw tonight in that fourth quarter is what Missoula is going to be all over. What Detroit, if you get that far, is going to be all over. And everyone's talking championship with this group. Hey, I said beginning of the year, finals, make the finals of this season is a bitter, bitter disappointment. If you are Dagnalt, if you're Denver and Malone, if you're San Antonio, you're going to town on forcing Brunson to force the issue. Hey, let him go chuck. If he's going to go and chuck and the Knicks are not going to be a balanced team, they ain't going to beat us because they're not good enough to beat us. They got to be the sum of 5 parts in order to go and be that sort of team. And we didn't see that in the fourth quarter. We didn't.
100%. And here's the thing, it's funny, like where we are now is like where we were in the 90s, I feel. Like we're a second round team. We're going to play into May. Everything's going to be fine in that aspect. And Brunson kind of had like I don't want to compare him to Patrick because Patrick needed somebody to get him the ball. But I feel like, if we lose, I don't think we're going to lose this series. But if we lose the next series, this is going to start to get heavy on Jalen Brunson. And all the things are going to happen where it's like, all right, can you do something now?
The honeymoon's over. See, that's what it boils down to, Cobra. Because, listen, we all love and appreciate what Jalen Brunson has brought to the New York Knicks. He's an amazing leader. The team has done nothing but win since he's been the leader of the team. And we know how bad the franchise was. Breen took a lot of heat for those comments. He meant what he said as far as, hey, I'm doing games that meant nothing for 7 or 8 years. Now the Knicks really matter again. Now it's wake up until the postseason. It just speaks to the difference in culture, and Brunson's a big part of that. But now you're at a point where it's like, hey, great, we're in the playoffs. Hey, we've won a round, great. We've made the conference finals, great. We want to win the whole damn thing. Can we do that?
We want to win the whole thing. Let's go. Yeah. No, this is why tonight's performance, you go into the fourth quarter. Again, like I said, okay, like you just said in your monologue, OKC has blown leads. That's fine. But killers, we don't have any. We're not killers. We don't know how to put a game away. Even game 1, you're watching it and you're like, all right, they win game 1, but you look at this team and you go, what the hell are you guys doing? You got to step on a throat and they don't know how to do it. And this was tonight's game and they didn't get it done.
Cobra, outstanding call, buddy. Great start to the show. And I see you guys in the YouTube chat. I appreciate it. And Garrett, this is an excellent point. Cat only having 12 shots in this game is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Now, a lot of it was in the first quarter. Took a lot of shots in the third quarter. But down the stretch, where's Karl Anthony Towns? Where is he? My main man Bradley is up next. He joins us. Brad, take it away. How we doing?
Oh, JJ, I can go in like a million different directions with this one. This is just maddening, sickening, just terrible, just possession after possession at the end of that fourth quarter with the ISO with Jalen. It's just like, I'm so and you hit the nail on the head too with Mike Brown sitting Cat and Brunson at the same time, and Atlanta's going on those runs. And yeah, okay, they did overcome it. Like in the third quarter, Cat went off again, but like it's just again they're just not a team that knows how to close and go for the jugular and just like kick the guy while he's already down. It's like this game is it's like you said, it's on autopilot. Like wrap this shit up and like let's go. Like you're gonna go down to Atlanta down up 2-0, and it's just like this team just doesn't know how to have that killer instinct when it matters. It's just sickening.
Well, and you don't want to be playing with your food. And
Yeah.
when you play with your food, and they play with their food in this game, because there were way too many stretches where your two best players are not on the floor, then all of a sudden your defense goes to crap in the fourth quarter. We saw that. Then you throw in the other element that's at play. Your best player was incredibly inefficient,
Yeah.
and they didn't move the ball the way that they were able to move the ball early in the game. And I think you got to credit Atlanta's defense that obviously forced that issue, but you got to be able to expose the lack of size that Atlanta has, Brad. They didn't do that. Well,
Yeah.
how is that possible? Atlanta's got no size. There's nobody that scares you down low.
Yeah.
Got to attack it.
It gotta attack it. I mean, you got like Karl Anthony Towns, like again, like just use that to the like what's working is like he's driving to the basket. Like they just didn't have an answer for him, and it's just like, and yeah, Gary mentioned it too. Only 12 shots, like unacceptable. Like he needs the ball more. He needs to shoot the ball more. Like it's just such a frustrating night, man. Like we were here, we were on the other night. Like I was saying like Knicks in 5 after that, but like you know what. Now it's gonna be back. I'm back to my original theory. I'm thinking Knicks in 6, and it's just ridiculous. And by the way, it didn't help too knowing Steve Cohen was on the freaking court and bringing it to 11 straight losses of his Mets
Steve
to
loves
his
wearing.
MSG.
Listen, Brad. Steve
Yeah.
loves making his presence felt.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He likes having that blue,
Yeah.
orange, and blue Met hat on. Hey, when the Mets are going good, nobody had a problem with Steve Cohen on the court. When the Mets are
Yeah.
going bad, it's like, Steve, maybe not the night to see you at the Garden. But I'll give this to Steve. He's brave. Because you know what? You know you're walking around the Garden, even in those seats, even when you're protected by Chalamet, Stiller, and Garden security.
Yeah.
He's going to hear it. So I give him credit for bravery, but I get it, dude.
I give him credit too. He showed up, but like, yeah, even still, it rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, that's all I got tonight, JJ. We'll talk on draft night and
yes,
see what
look
the Giants
forward to it.
do.
It's going to be
Yeah.
a very, very late draft night for us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But we will be here. We will be rocking, and hopefully the Knicks will be up 2-1. Can you believe this series is tied? How is this possible? Crazy. We head to Woodside, and this guy looks down in the dumps. So main man Charlie. And by the way, if you are watching on Twitter, on YouTube, and you want to get in touch with the show, we have the link up here on StreamYard that you can click. You can participate. You can chop it up. You can join us and have a little bit of fun. Charlie, take it away.
JJ, absolutely. I am disgusted with this thing. This was on cruise control for the first 3 quarters. Then where this team's supposed to do is winning time in the fourth quarter. And you let CJ McCollum and Trey Young, come on, y'all. You cannot let that dude took over in the clutch. Like turnovers early on, missing free throws. I seen this team missing free throws, and that thing's gonna come on to bite you. And once again, this team notoriously known for, they got 1-0, they playing with their food, and they mess around, and they don't put the hammer down. And what I'm scary about for the rest of the series, I know last year's team much better on the road, but
That's a great point, Charlie. Last year's team was road warriors. This team has not had that reputation. Now, they did go to Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and they beat Atlanta. So let's give them credit for that. They did go to Atlanta and beat Atlanta. that final week of the regular season. But this was supposed to be a team that flexed at Madison Square Garden. This is a team that got off to as good a start as almost any Knicks team other than 1993 with that home record, with the way they were pimping wins. Yeah, championship teams don't yuck up games like this. If that's the point you're getting at, and if you want to tell me that fourth quarter, which, by the way, is still absolutely disgusting to think about, the Knicks were outscored in the fourth quarter. I had it right here. I don't even want to see it. It's like 28-15. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. I couldn't even find a dopey stat. 28-15. And it should have been worse than that. It was a couple of threes from Brunson late that gave you a little bit of window dressing, you know?
And I watched the MSG postgame, and Alan Hahn mentioned this team was dominating on the glass,
killing them,
opposite boards, and the paint. You know what happened in the fourth quarter? They got outscored in the paint 22-4. Like, where the hell was calling it?
You know who played? I'll tell you who played a big role in that, Charlie. Kuminga. Kuminga had a monster second half. And I still don't think Atlanta's team is particularly good. I don't. I think they're well coached. I think they're a bunch of overachievers. But Kuminga was a guy that really made life miserable on the Knicks. And you're absolutely right. That edge they had in the paint, not only from a scoring sense, but on the glass, was most certainly negated fourth quarter specifically.
Yes, that was unacceptable. Like, Towns only shot one shot, that three, I think, with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. It was a three.
Can't happen.
I mean, it can't happen. That's unacceptable.
Can't happen.
He's a mismatch against that team. And no pick and roll with Brunson. It was everything Brunson, just dribble, just stagnant position. Horrible position after horrible position just in that fourth quarter. This was flat out unacceptable. And, man, I was like, should we go on 2-0? Thursday night's going to be busy with, like, now.
Dude, let me tell you something, Charlie. Thursday night is setting up to be an all-timer, and we're going to be rocking, and we're going to be rolling. It's going to probably be a show. We're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait until the end of the first round because there might be some chaos. Who knows if the Jets want to go and do something crazy to move up and maybe get a third first-round pick. But Schlittler in Boston this week. Now, I don't know if that's Wednesday or Thursday. I got to go on Thursday pitching matchup. Thursday. I'm glad you brought this up. Perfect. That's early. Then you have Knicks at 7. Mets at 7. Who knows what shape they're in? And then we have all the proceedings of the draft. That's an all-time day, my friend. All-time day.
Definitely, I'll be, catching up all of them. Probably the Knicks are going to be in the main screen, Yankees, and then the draft. So, but my goodness, this team, man. My goodness.
Charlie, it's never easy. That's
never
really, that's the gist of it. Appreciate it as always, my friend. It's never easy for the Knicks. It's never, ever easy. It should have been easy. This was it. This double digits. Fourth quarter. Game's over. Atlanta looking like a team that didn't belong. Big McCollum shot. Kuminga, big McCollum shot. Bad Brunson. ISO Brunson. Double team. Bad pass. Then you throw in some missed free throws. And then Bridges. Can you go up strong at the end of the game? I'm still, by the way, super confused about the timeout situation. And this is a great comment, Mr. Kishke. I'm throwing this up. See, look at me showing off in the YouTube. Look how skilled I am. Knicks are in a bonus. Basically, 5-6 minutes every quarter. Didn't get to the rack. What does that tell you? Bad offense. Bad offense, bad coaching, and bad fourth quarter defense. All of the above. Now, I promised a certain someone on Sunday's show they could spend a little time with me because they have a wedding coming up, which I'm very excited for. I'm not going to be there. He now is going to have a little bit of a conflict on his hands because he's going to have a whole lot of wedding guests multitasking throughout the wedding. I've been one of those people in the past. I've also, I'm sure people were multitasking at my wedding. That's the way it goes. That's par for the course. But my wedding gift to the great Brad in Hoboken is that he could spend a couple of minutes with me. I know this will not be better than your big day, but I hope it's a nice honorable mention.
JJ, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
I wish you were joining me under better circumstances, to be honest with you. You know, like this should be like one of the happiest times in your life. You're getting married. You have all of these well wishes coming your way, and the Knicks got to go and bring down your mood a little bit.
You know, I joked with my friends this morning. I told them I was coming on the pod and this was going to be a thing. And I said, you know what? Everyone should bet the Hawks money line because there's no way I'm coming on this pod and it's going to be all positive vibes and it's just not going to work out. I knew.
Wow, you went reverse jinx. I would have done the opposite. I think I would have doubled down, Brad. I would have said, listen, this is my day. I'm getting married in a few days. I'm hanging out with JJ. Knicks are going to win by 20 points. And through three quarters, are you thinking I'm a dumbass for suggesting anyone to bet the Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah, I was. And honestly, things were looking great. Speaking of early on in the game, while we're at it, there's one thing that's really been bothering me, and I don't know if it's a Mike Brown thing. I don't know if it's something with him, but what is up with Mikal? And I'm not going to complain about the first quarters because he always looks great in the first quarter, but he disappears. And I don't know what it is, if it's something they're drawing up to get him going early, but why don't they? Like, why does he just disappear?
I think a lot of that is on the player, to be perfectly honest with you, because we saw this last year with Tom Thibodeau. We saw it last year with Thibodeau, and now you're seeing it this year. So, to me, that's far more about Mikal Bridges falling in and out of the offense. And, look, there are a lot of mouths to feed. There's always complaints about Karl Anthony Towns not getting enough touches. I'm in that camp. Then at times you feel like OG Anunoby's getting lost in the sauce. You didn't necessarily feel that in the first two games, but you've sensed that from time to time. The Knicks are at their best when everybody's in double figures. Mm-hmm. And that's the way this game was going in the first half, other than Towns. I'm like, great. Third quarter, they got Towns going. Everybody's getting theirs. That's when the Knicks are going to win and be successful. They're not going to be successful when they're basically boggled down standing and watching Jalen Brunson play. That's not going to work.
And I agree with you with a lot of mouths to feed. And that's kind of why Mikal Bridges is such a valuable player to this team, because he's the type of player that is supposed to be able to impact the game on offense with limited shots. You saw it in Phoenix. Obviously, you saw a different side of him in Brooklyn. But, I mean, I got the same complaints as everyone else with the minutes without Cat and Brunson, the missed free throws at the end. I mean,
Brad, didn't those missed free throws remind you of last year in Indiana?
100%.
At the Garden. It was at the Garden. But literally when Anunoby is missing those free throws, I'm like, I'm just waiting for McCollum to have the Halliburton shot at that point. You know what I mean? That's what I was waiting for. Might as well.
The other thing that drives me nuts is I see all these stats. We're an all-time great fourth quarter team. We know Brunson is a closer. We know he's a killer, clutch player of the year last year. Why does it feel like this happens so often? I don't know if it's just because it's in big spots when it happens every once in a while, so it feels like it happens more often. But I feel like I'm doing this on a weekly basis. It happens in the regular season sometimes too. I don't get it.
Well, their fourth quarters this year, for the most part, have been pretty good. And even if you go back last year to the postseason, I mean, they had a great fourth quarter in Game 4 against Detroit, where they were able to come back and win. Game 6 was kind of one of those tilt-the-world back and forth type of games. I'm just going through in my head the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Boston Game 1, Game 2, Game 4, all great fourth quarters. So
I was in the building for Game 4.
That was an epic game. Epic game. And listen, what is going to drive you nuts is you want to have every last ounce of energy, fight, grit. Knowing what's coming with Boston, knowing what's coming with maybe Detroit, or dare I say Oklahoma City, or Denver, or San Antonio, or any of these teams. That's the problem, Brad. You can't be if you're a championship team, you can't be losing double-digit leads in the fourth quarter at home of a playoff game. I'm sorry, you can't.
Especially round one, like this was supposed to, like after Game 1, I'm thinking, all right, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared of the Hawks going into this series, but then we saw it play out in Game 1.
I'm still not scared of Brad. I want to make this abundantly clear. If anybody is listening or watching from Atlanta, I'm sorry to offend you, but you know what? Tough, too bad. I'm still not scared of the Hawks. I'm not. This to me is far more about what the Knicks didn't do than what Atlanta did, other than McCollum. McCollum was great. So was Kuminga. I'll give those guys credit. But this was about the Knicks and their inability to execute and their poor coaching and their best player not being up for the challenge and the systematic failure of them in the fourth quarter, not Atlanta, and wow, what they were able to do brilliantly. That's me.
And that's what's going to drive you crazy if they ultimately lose game 3 and then you're in game 4 in a must-win situation, is that this was a win. This game was on, like you said, it was on cruise control.
Over. And normally I say when you lose games like this, you don't win a series. But the thing is, they're the better team. See, when you're evenly matched, like the Knicks and the Pacers, for example, they were evenly matched teams last year, give or take. They were evenly matched teams. And you were never going to recover from game 1 the way the Knicks melted and lost that game. They can recover because they're much better than Atlanta. And I think they will respond and they will win. But it's ominous to what's to come. Speaking of, you have a wedding on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
How do we plan on now? Are you going to allow your guests? Are they going to be dialed in on the game? Is your wife going to frown upon this? These are the hard-hitting questions I'm dying to know.
And they're hard-hitting on both sides. When I saw the playoff schedule before the times got announced, I was really hoping we were going to, because I knew we were playing on the Saturday. So I knew there was going to be a game the day of the wedding.
You were rooting for an afternoon game?
Yeah, I was hoping for like a 12 o'clock start, hanging out in the groomsmen suite with all my friends, watching the game, getting a win, then going to get married. Now I'm getting married right in the middle of the game. So,
well, listen, what time's your wedding?
The ceremony starts at 7. Game starts at 6.
You're not in bad shape here. I'm going to tell you why. Ceremony, fine. You have a cocktail hour?
Yep.
By the time your cocktail hour is over, the game should be close to over. Why is that a good thing? That means you won't be. You have no choice. You have to do what your wife says. You're screwed. Forget about you for a second. Your guests, your buddies who are big-time Knicks fans, they can keep abreast. Like if they're at the ceremony, what's going on here? How we doing? They could do that. You can't. They could do that. You can't. But then all the dancing, all the festivities, people will be out and about, hopefully celebrating a Knicks win. I'm telling you this right now, Brad. I'm giving you good juju on this. Your wedding is Saturday. I'm 100% betting the Knicks. I don't care what the line is. I'm betting them. They are not losing on your wedding day. Remember, I said that.
We had our meeting with our music people a couple weeks ago, and I knew this was going to happen. Once we picked our date, I'm like, oh, it's going to be during a Knicks playoff game. Like, I have no doubt about it. And we had a meeting with our music people, and we had to do that thing where you like add a few random songs that maybe you like that the music people wouldn't, that the band wouldn't typically play. So I was like, in the notes, I put, I want to play Go New York, Go, but only if it's during a Knicks playoff game and they win.
And only if they win. You cannot play it if they lose.
And when
I got on
the call with them, they were like, "Oh, like even if they don't win, we'll do something for the Knicks." I'm like, "No, you don't get it. That's definitely not going to happen."
Listen, they're going to win. You're going to hear it. And if I had to throw in a request, make sure your band gets a little, You Should Be Dancing with the Bee Gees. That video from the Jastrzemski wedding, I still think is going viral.
That's awesome.
Dude, go have a great wedding. Seriously, congrats to you and the missus. Hopefully this is good therapy for you. And hopefully Thursday they'll put you in good spirits. So that way you're riding high going into Saturday, all right?
Exactly. Thanks, JJ. I appreciate it.
Listen, that's what we do. We make memories here. Brad is a loyal listener. He's getting married on Saturday. And asking you shall receive. Give Brad a couple minutes. He's going to have a badass wedding. I'll tell you this. If I were a guest at his wedding, I would be very distracted until that game is over. That's just the way it goes. Listen, I was at my wife's cousin, Ariana. Great girl. Sweetheart. Her wedding was on game 1 of Yankees Royals. And listen, I have the work excuse. It helps. I'm not going to lie. Some don't. I wouldn't care, to be honest with you. If I had the work excuse or if I didn't have the work excuse, I would still do it because I'm a little bit of a schmuck, but that's fine. I'm at the table. I had the game going. I'm throwing cocktails down. My wife was pregnant at the time. Nobody knew. We did. Nobody else did. We had to unveil that later in the night. But it was one of those where I'm like, hey, you want to come over watch the game with me? Great. But I'm not getting on that dance floor until the game ends. Got like an hour and a half on the floor. It was worth it. It was worth it. So congrats to Brad. Let's head to Ricky. He joins us next. Hi, Ricky. How we doing, bud?
JJ, I don't have your audio right now. I think it's on my end, but I kind of wanted to just say something. Thank you for having me on, first of all. This is the type of game. I'm not going to say what everyone else has basically said. We know Cat needs touches. We know Jalen should have been better in the fourth quarter. This Knicks team is really missing a third option at this point. We're missing a Dante DiVincenzo. We're missing almost like a Julius Randle. Anyone that's going to be a knockdown shooter type, because when we can't rely on Brunson and Cat to be making shots, especially down in the fourth quarter, that's when the offense went completely stagnant. You see Mikal Bridges putting up that awful shot to end the game. We could have had the ball for anyone else. They just need a third option, and they need someone with a killer instinct. They really don't have a true scorer outside of Brunson and Cat that's really going to get it done on a nightly basis. And I think that's making all the difference in the world right now, especially come in the later rounds of the playoffs. Let me know your thoughts on that. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Ricky, good call. I would have given you a little back and forth there, but you couldn't hear me. All good. I think you're spot on with DiVincenzo. And it was why, even though he did not have a great year for Minnesota, there was something about his edge in these big games that gave you a lot of confidence. And it's something Bridges does not have. That's just a cold, hard truth. Bridges is a better defender than DiVincenzo. That's what the Knicks were going for. The Knicks, when they made those moves last year, Towns for Randall and DiVincenzo, but paying Anunoby and then bringing in Bridges and giving up all of the picks. The team they had in mind that they were thinking about saying, hey, we have to find a way to beat this team is the Boston Celtics. Point blank, Boston Celtics. We have to find a way to beat this team because we got to have wings that can switch everything. We got to be able to guard on the perimeter. We're thinking about Tatum. We're thinking about Brown. And hey, when the Knicks matched up with the Celtics last year, they beat them. They didn't have the same success against Indiana for a variety of different reasons. Game one, the way they chucked up and yucked up that series. Indiana's bench. Siakam was great. Halliburton was great. Their best players outplayed the Knicks' best players. The bench was better. Like the coaching was better. All of the above. But I keep harping back on this with this current Knicks group. They made a coaching change in the offseason that I did not particularly like. I know a lot of Knicks Twitter celebrated the move. They were thrilled about the fact that Tom Thibodeau was gone because folks around Knick Land and people within the NBA, without a doubt, had an anti-Tibbs stigma. I think there's a lot of that. The minutes police. He's gruff. He's old school. And they looked at Tibbs and said, he's holding this team back. From what I've seen this year, and I think Mike Brown in the regular season has done a fine job. I think he had a horrible game too. Horrible game too. He was supposed to come in and unlock something different. That's what he was supposed to do. Has he done that? That's what these playoffs are all about. Because in the regular season, it's basically the exact same result. 50-some wins, top 3 seed. And to be fair to Mike Brown, they could have won 65 games and I'd have the same critique. I look at this postseason the exact same way. That's why. You're judged on postseason. You're judged on getting to the top of the mountain, at least in the Eastern Conference this year. And that's why I said the minute the Knicks made the coaching change and they hired Mike Brown or whoever they were going to hire, I said that person is going to be judged ridiculously unfairly. Because Knicks can win 53 games. They lose to the Celtics. You know what I'm going to look at? I'm going to say, hold on a second. Tom Thibodeau beat the Celtics. Same team. Maybe even better on the bench. Tibbs' team beat the Celtics. You didn't. Or if Brown gets the NBA Finals, it's validated. But that's what's at stake in this postseason. And that game 2, in many ways was a carbon copy of a lot of Knicks playoff games I saw last year that fell short. Game 2 and Game 5 against Detroit. And not quite as bad, but a little PTSD to what we saw in Game 1 against the Indiana Pacers. Never easy with this group. It's never easy. So now you got to get off the mat, get down to Atlanta, and here's what I want to see this team do on Thursday, and I want to see them do it on Saturday. I want to see them win both. To eradicate the stench of what I just witnessed, go win both games and go take care of the series in 5. Don't let the momentum of Game 2 now carry over into Game 3. Don't let the Hawks believe they can win. Because if they go win Game 3, you're damn right they're going to believe, hey, we can win. We got to them. You can't allow that to happen. It's going to be a long, long 48 hours. I can tell you that right now. I wish the Knicks were playing on Wednesday. The worst thing about this is you got to sit on this game now for 2 days. So that's what we will do. And I can promise you this. We'll be back on Thursday. I want to thank everybody who joined us here. The live stream on YouTube was rocking. The Twitter was rocking. Your participation, rocking. So if you didn't get a chance to join us in the chat and you're listening to this via pod, get in, be a part of the show. You have the opportunity to do so. We will be rocking very late on Thursday night because Thursday night is absolutely insane. We have round 1 of the NFL draft. We have Knicks Game 3, Schlittler in Boston, Mets as well. So I'm thinking anywhere from 11:30 or 12 o'clock is when we will be rocking and rolling. So I enjoyed this because it was nice therapy. I did not enjoy the final 12 minutes of Madison Square Garden. No, I'd like to have that time in my life back. And I guess we end the show. Congrats to Brad, who's going to have a badass wedding. JJ out. Enjoy your Monday, Tuesday, whatever day it is. I don't even freaking know. Disgusted. Be good, everybody.